Let's talk about my filming setup and the gear that I use to make these YouTube videos. The supplemental footage in this video will be filmed with my iPhone 15 Pro Max. First up, let's talk about my camera. You already know I use the Sony a7R III mounted on my new weird tripod set up for horizontal shooting. One of my biggest gripes about this camera is the screen does not flip out. I purchased it 3 years before even starting YouTube, so it was never a camera benefit that I considered. But it autofocuses onto me every single time that I record myself. I'll usually do a handful of test shoots beforehand to ensure the composition and framing looks good. The lens that I use is a Sony ZEISS 24-70 f4 that I made an entire video about. I'm pretty much always shooting these talking head segments at the widest 24mm focal length with the aperture set to f4 for the most amount of background blur or bokeh possible. I light my scenes with the new Air ring light that's always off screen, nothing too fancy, but it gets the job done. I'll also have the blinds up to get that added natural light from the windows. For other forms of lighting, I sometimes have this RGB floor lamp in frame as a practical light. I'll also turn on and physically turn this kitchen light behind me so that it's pointed right at my back. This lighting hack doubles as a practical light and a backlight. I use this Tascam lav mic for that crispy audio that you're hearing. Otherwise, the footage would sound like this. On top of using this lav mic, I also apply an audio preset that I created to the audio files. The audio preset consists of adjustments and fine tuning of the multiband compressor, de-esser, parametric equalizer, and de-noise effects in Premiere Pro. I created a Dropbox folder below where I'm going to begin adding assets for you guys to use in your creative projects. You can find this audio preset in that folder for you to use. If you're curious about the adjustments I made to those audio effects I just mentioned, I'll link the video I made a while back explaining them in the description below. Moving on, I filmed all of my footage in the S-Log color profile that forces me to use an ISO of 800. But since I'm filming in 24 frames per second, my shutter speed is 1/50th of a second, which in turn levels out the exposure. If you're unsure why my shutter speed has to be set to 1/50th of a second, it's due to the 180-degree shutter rule, which basically means that your shutter speed needs to be double your frame rate. Again, I explain this more in depth in my videography basics tutorial, which I'll also link in the description below. Once all of this footage and crispy audio is recorded, like I mentioned earlier, I'll edit everything in Premiere Pro. I plan on eventually creating a Premiere Pro tutorial on how I edit my YouTube videos, but if enough people comment that they would like it sooner rather than later, I'll get started on it much quicker. Anyways, to wrap up, I used to have a dedicated corner in my old place where I would record with my desk behind me, which some of the OG subscribers may remember in my older videos, but ever since moving into the city, I have lost that additional space for a studio. Hence why you see me filming in my living room. Before every shoot, I'll make sure that the background is nice and tidy and anything that doesn't need to be in frame is removed. Sometimes I'll forget one thing, like this kitchen towel, for example. I chose to film in this location not just because I'm facing the windows, but also because it provides the most amount of depth in the background, which makes for a better looking video overall. I'll also set up this desk every single time that I record and take it apart once I'm done. It's extremely easy to do, but it does add to the resistance of creating YouTube videos. I would love to streamline my recording process eventually. Of course, as of recently, my laptop will always be on my desk with the script of the video I'm recording on the screen so I can easily reference it, since I script my video word for word, including what I'm saying right now. And last but not least, I'll add a real, or in this case, a fake plant to my desk for that added pop of color. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing, guys. I'm pretty sure that covers everything, but if you have additional questions on something I might have missed, feel free to ask me in the comments below and I'll let you know. Now, for one reason or another, if you don't have a camera or your camera is damaged or you simply don't want to show your face, check out the video on the screen now where I easily explain how you can create what's called faceless YouTube videos, and I'll see you there.